welcome to this talk. We are in the middle of the Stockholm Design Week 2021, and we're also broadcasting from the very city centre of Stockholm. This talk will attach to the previous talk, and today we ask ourselves how new ways of living set demands on the future cities. Very interesting topic, very exciting guests. I say welcome to Viktoria Walldin, first of all. You're an anthropologist at White Architects in Stockholm. This is the country's largest architectural firm.
Yeah, actually, I think it might be one of Scandinavia's largest as well.
Yeah. And as an anthropologist in this company, what do you do on a regular workday?
Well, we have something in Swedish, it's called samråd, consultation, where you actually talk or discuss or inform people about development projects. And when you call people to come to consultations, very seldom a lot of people, or at least varied people, comes. It's usually a handful of men, actually, even elderly men, and we work with actually trying to increase the participants. So instead of calling for people, we go out and talk to them, or we go out and study them. We interview them. We do all kinds of focus groups, just talking about how the city can develop. It could be everything from a building to actual master plans. And we make sure that children's perspective comes in, young women that are usually unrepresented. So like a broaden the dialogue.
I'm very happy that you're here, Victoria, because I guess you will contribute to this topic very intensely. Thank you for being with us. And also here in Stockholm, David Schill, you're the marketing director of Aritco. And you are also maybe the motor to host this series of talk. For those not yet familiar with Aritco, please give me the elevator pitch of what you do in your company.
Yeah, as you recognize, Aritco makes lifts. We make different type of platform lifts, very much focused on both home as well as the commercial and public spaces. When I started now 5-6 years ago, we were predominantly doing commercial and public buildings, but today actually homes are the larger part of our production today. And you can see us in about 40 different countries over the world in different situations, luxury homes to also coming into homes that need accessibility support of different kinds.
Yeah, and I'm sure you will feed in with a lot of, because you see the end consumer and the changes in behaviors, I guess, very closely. So I'm looking forward to have your take on today's topic as well.
Thank you.
And with us on screen from London, James Bidwell, welcome.
Thank you. It's lovely to be with you virtually.
Yes.
I'm sad not to be with you in person because Stockholm is one of my favorite cities and Stockholm Design Week, one of my favorite events. So I'm sad not to be there with you.
Maybe next year. James, you are the CEO and the owner of an innovation portal called Springwise. Most interesting to hear about what you do. You describe yourself as an ID spotting network. Tell me a little about Springwise.
So Springwise is a global innovation and ideas spotting network. We have a very large global community of innovators and the curious, if you like, and we connect with them every day to bring the latest, most exciting ideas and technology and startups and academia that is happening in the world in order to give them oxygen, because we believe in innovation as a positive force, and also to help our clients and partners understand the future in a way that is more real time than the kind of traditional trend spotting kind of format. So Springwise has been going since 2002, so it's almost 20, and that means it has a deeply ingrained set of networks and community that is extremely valuable and fascinating every single day.
Fascinating. And one of the latest things is that you have, together with Aritco, come up with a report under the headline Future of the Home. And we are going to sometimes maybe during today's talk refer to this report because there are some interesting things that you found out about what is happening right now. So welcome, all three of you. It's great. I'm really excited about this subject, actually. We are in the, well, we live in the era of the pandemic. We are in year 2. This is February 2021, and we are in year 2 of the COVID-19 era. This is historical times. Very, very, we will remember this for sure. But my first question, and maybe I'll address that to you, James. Where are we in the development of the cities right now?
So the development of the cities, of course, is a pivotal point of debate in this COVID world. And you could look at it as an existential crisis. If you had a big holdings of retail and office space, that economic model is broken. And as we have accelerated with digitization, it looks like we're all creating new habits. We're shopping more from home. We're working from home. And therefore, the city has to reinvent itself. Now, that can either be a crisis or it can be a huge opportunity. So I think we have a huge opportunity ahead of us, but we have to really push, and we need politicians, we need businesses, we need communities to drive that development for a more sustainable, more livable, and in the end, more exciting world of cities. So there's a huge job to be done, and that does mean that innovation and reinvention is critical to that.
I don't think that anybody will oppose to what you're saying, but more specifically, Viktoria, for example, you study these things. What about, let's say, densification of the cities? That has been a hot topic the last 5-10 years. What is happening with questions like densification?
Well, I think that, like for us at an architectural firm working with the urban planning and architecture, I mean, for the past, I would say 15 years, densification, urbanization, and public meeting environments have been like the big topics.
Yeah.
And now that is sort of
Has it
being
stopped?
it hasn't stopped, but it's being as maybe reinvented, as James said. I mean, there's almost like a shock also, because is this not the thing? Are we going to more rural areas now? I mean, there's a lot of questions about that. But at the same time, like public meeting places are still very, very important, especially if people are sitting at home. There's something with this. I mean, this has been a crisis. It's terrible. It's hard for people like me who work with actually going out and engage people and gather people. I mean, there's my whole work method is being reinvented, going digital now. So, but I would say health.
Yeah, the health and the wellness
health
aspect.
and climate issues have actually been the catalysator.
Yeah, the executor.
Of urban planning for whenever. So it's somehow somewhat interesting to see if we really can focus on the sustainability now and also include health issues and pandemic.
So your view is actually that you say that you think that this can accelerate at a higher speed.
Yeah, and I think that maybe we can be even smarter with the strategies of planning cities and incorporate ideas about sustainable living and health as well. And I think we have to. We have to. I mean, that's the lesson learned. We have to.
And what do you say, David? What is your view on where we are as of today with the development of the cities?
I think where we are right now, the circumstances have set new demands on the cities. If we look at the densification, maybe a halt or a pause in people's mind, is that really something that we should go for, or how will we cope? But that's rather something I think that will, as Viktoria says, it will accelerate, but it has to be taken into account several new factors. We're looking at the cocooning almost like we have right now. Everybody's doing everything, like James is saying, from their home. But we still have a demand if we look at different types of real estate, etc. You look at the demand of having the green areas around you. You want to be able to walk outside, etc. But how do we cater for those rather when we are densifying the cities in the future? Because somewhere along the line, we are not going to be able to have one villa each everywhere in the world.
No.
So somewhere along the line, we need to change
that leads me to another question, and that is a question regarding segregation in the cities, because not everybody can afford a villa.
Exactly.
Not everybody can afford digitalization. Maybe you can, Victoria, you can work from different kind of places with your computer because you have this access to all these tools. But what do you say about the segregation in the cities?
No, it's terrible because the pandemic has actually intensified the segregation even more. And I think this summer, in June, July, some reports came out and clarified that the most vulnerable areas, the most vulnerable people, except old people, that is people that don't have been extra. Well, they've gotten the COVID more than other. You will have rich areas where it's non-existing and poorer areas where it's fully blown. And that's also something we have to learn of. It's not only about communication. People will say it's a problem of language because of a lot of immigrants that lives in this area, but it's not only that. It has to do with the access to digitalization, being able to be schooled at home, but also with the fact that a lot of people are staying in one apartment. I mean, it's difficult with social distancing if you're like 8 people in a family living with 3 bedrooms. We have to address these questions.
And James, what is your view on the segregation issue?
Well, I agree entirely with Victoria. One of the things that was going through my mind on segregation is thinking about the developing world and the amount of people who live in informal housing. I actually visited the largest favela in Sao Paulo several years ago, and it runs like a city. It is a city. It has a mayor and all of those. And cities are the backdrops for our lives, and they are the theater, which we live in. And I think they need to radically change in order to, particularly the kind of the cities, the capital cities in Europe, they need to be much, much more inclusive. We need to design housing, design real estate in a way that is more inclusive and accepts the diversity of the populations in which we live. And that does demand that businesses who own the real estate become more of a force for good. And as Springwise, we're a B corporation. So we have written into our articles of association that our business will be a force for good. And every day, actually, we publish innovations which are around how do you help not only the developed world, but also the developing world to innovate in order to figure out some of these questions. But of course, it's a huge global issue that needs to be addressed. But the one of the benefits, if there ever could be a benefit of the COVID world, is we've all had more time to reflect. And I think there is an admission that something really does need to be done to make a more equal world and kind of change this segregation somehow.
There is a project, I don't know, of course you have heard about this, called Smart Cities, where there are 5 cities, well, in the northern America, I guess, most of them, San Francisco or Los Angeles is one of them. Does this smart city methodic, could that apply to solving the segregation problems? What do you think?
Maybe not solving, but inform. I think it's fun when you talk about these smart city projects. It sort of implies that the cities have been stupid before. They haven't. I mean, there's so many innovations in the city that has actually elevators is one of them. Zoning is one of them. Even though zoning existed forever, I mean, you could always develop zoning even more. But I think today the idea of smart city is sort of married to the idea of digitalization and technology. But I mean, a smart city is not smart if you keep on having people that are poor or homeless, or I mean, they have to lift the social aspects more. And but what digitalization can do is that they can give us data, information on behavior and needs much more quickly than ever. And I think that also will speed up now. I think this is a good area for smart city development. Good time for it.
Yeah, you nod.
Yeah, because I think the gratefulness with the smart cities is as a happening, or as the movement of using the resources in a great shared way. So the thinking behind the foundation or for it, I think, is just exactly what you're saying. It is a possibility for us to eliminate, or at least improve, getting people closer, avoid segregation, because the matter of it is actually the goal is to share smart, and I think making that possible through the digitalization is a fantastic movement.
If we narrow this down just a little, we have very, very quickly in the era of the pandemic adapted to new behaviors, new ways of living. And in this report, James and David, because you collaborated, you talk about also how we already reflect differently on our own behaviors. You write that we have new lenses maybe on extreme hygiene, or what we bring into our homes or into our offices. Can you develop that a little bit to us, James? How these reflections already seem to be within us?
So I think it's a great point that we've known about climate change, for example, for a long time. What the pandemic has done in that specific case, I think, is accelerated our awareness of it. And actually, the pandemic was caused because of humankind's attitude to nature, and we're now having to deal with that. So, although there are some people in the world who don't agree, I think that many of us have seen that there's an acceleration of awareness and importance to do something about it. And we look a lot at through the multi-generational lens, and also through the kind of the generational shift lens. And young people are most definitely wanting to work for organizations that care about climate change and social diversity and all of those issues. And that reflective nature, plus the acceleration of digitization. Here we are on a virtual call. It's almost as if I was in the studio with you. And we've got used to that. And I think this is the beginning of this kind of technology and the acceleration of technology, which then feeds into the home. So my home is completely different. I'm sitting here working with you guys. My wife's downstairs working on hers, and I've got a couple of kids upstairs online at school. And that is a totally different way of using the home. And we've also seen in the kind of the older community, we do quite a lot of work with retirement homes to try and help them plan for the future, which I think must be an important market for Aritco. And we're seeing that the digitization, the sustainability, and the convenience, and the different ways that we kind of use our homes, now that we're spending a lot of time in them, are really accelerating. So I think my summary is that the reflection has allowed us to accelerate and to optimize digital and optimize the important things in life through this pandemic moment.
Yeah, I'm talking about sustainability. According to the report, David, we reflect on that as well.
Absolutely. I think we, in all our different choices today, are much more focused on finding, not only one use need for usage, but also understanding to do some kind of a responsible choice when we are then choosing a new type of equipment to our homes to maybe feel more safe or have a better comfort in our home, etc., etc. It's not just about having that function, it's also to have like a dual function. And sustainability is surely one out of that. Health is another one. So how do I keep myself safe? How do I contribute to also doing a conscious choice when I'm doing it?
This all sounds very good, and these two guys, they are very positive, of course. But honestly speaking, Victoria, sense of purpose, sustainability, awareness, is that also not a sign of that we are in the middle of the crisis? And what happens then when we get out of it? Will these so-called good new thoughts, beliefs, common responsibility, will that fade out, do you think? Or what is there a pattern that you have been observing?
Well, I've been observing. I'm thinking about a specific thing right now, which is some of the new trends or whatever it's called is not that new, actually. This started before the pandemic. It is just intensified it. And last spring, I think, RIBA, James, can you help me? What's RIBA short for? Royal
Institute of British Architects
had a competition, an architect competition, which is called Rethink 25. And the three winners were actually, it really says something about this. The first winner was about how you should use the offices as homes, specifically for homeless people. Now, the topic of using or reusing the offices in new ways has already started before the pandemic when we talked about a shortage of living. The second winner talked about the relevance of making bike lanes and sidewalks for people to walk and bike rather than taking the car. I mean, how can we use the car less? How can we design so that we use the car less? The car cannot have the head of the planning in urban planning, or the head of have the head role. It has had that for at least 100 years. And this is also something that we've been talking about in terms of pollution and increasing collective transport systems. And the third winner was talking about agriculture and living a more ecological way out in the countryside, which also started like 2 years ago. Like, for instance, in Stockholm, we've been saying for a long time that in Stockholm, 2 busloads of people are moving in every day. That trend stopped in 2018 already, when you saw that more people actually
Moved out of the city.
moved out, and actually had a colleague, an ex-colleague, that's done some really good job on this. She wrote a book about the new ways of living in the countryside, and the people that wants that life is not just environmental, have the interest of the environment. They care a lot about social relationships. They care about living in mixed communities with mixed economies. So I think that those 3 winners actually informed us that, yeah, there is a change of behavior, but this already was happening before the pandemic, but we're intensifying in that now. But then there's innovation, of course, in the house, which the report talks about.
Yeah, and talking about trends and new behaviors, that of course creates also new demands. And let's say that the construction companies have been used since now quite a long time to be aware of the environmental code when building and construction, when building and constructing new houses, for example. Is there likely to be a pandemic code that you would have to relate to on the same terms as the environmental code, for example? What do you think, James? What do you think? Could that be a new demand?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the previous point, because
Go ahead.
Victoria, I think, very good point. And we see this every day at Springwise. And I think it's also why the report that David and Springwise have collaborated on for Aritco is so important, because it does bring to life real innovations that are happening out there in the world. So there's lots around air purification and cleanliness in the home. There's really cool sanitizing shelves that kind of self-sanitize. There's an Indian invention that where you press the button in the list, but you don't have to actually press it. So there's all this contactless thing, which is all pandemic induced. And the exciting thing is that we've seen on Springwise a real increase in real ideas that are coming to market. Now, the question is how fast they're going to be adopted, of course, and which ones will be very successful and which ones will, people will go, I think that's a nice idea, but I'm not going to do it. I think there's a long way in building certification to actually to become really best in class from a sustainability point of view. Concrete is a disaster for the environment.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about cross-laminated timber. And
we have a lot of timber in this country.
So, exactly. Yeah. So, and cross-laminated timber, there's a big debate about cross-laminated timber as a material for some of the housing that needs to be built, which so there's all of those things happening. And there's I was listening to something very interesting about in terms of agriculture, which Viktoria mentioned, around rice being grown without water, which would be an extraordinary kind of next step and improvement in the world's kind of food system, which will be one of the big challenges. But back to your question about do I see a COVID certification?
Yeah,
I think there will be, certainly for specific groups, the idea of driving technology-driven cleanliness and sanitizing, particularly in the care home community. And the UK, as you know, has really suffered in the care homes around COVID. That was one of the big crises at the beginning of COVID. Do I see it in every home? I'm not sure. I think it will be a very important piece, but I'm not sure it'll have to be certified. I think if we get on a plane and travel, we may have to have a vaccination, which is another thing. So I think post-COVID regulation and restriction will play a part in our worlds. I think it'll be an option in homes, but I can't see it as something that is going to be regulated. I think the governments are in enough trouble for keeping us locked down for all these months. I think they're going to be careful about what they decide to regulate.
Yeah, I know that you, David, you love to talk about future-proofing of the homes.
Of course, and just before that, I would like to add to what James says. I think there will be a large demand for different types of certification, or at least sanitization tools that actually help us. If we look at the densification, densifying still the cities, we are living closer to each other, we are sharing more common spaces, and still we are afraid. So there is a fright of touching areas where someone else have been, and we need to find different solutions. And I think the report shares quite a few innovations that actually then points out that there are UVC light, there are different
sanitizers,
different types of other solutions with layers, etc., that actually then are supporting that type of need. And coming to your question then, I think what's interesting here is that we also see a movement not only in future-proofing your home, but also we see multiple generations living in the houses and the homes much more today, even in Europe. Previously, we've seen this, of course, as a natural state when we come to different areas like Middle East or in Asia, or etc. But one of the leading countries right now where we see more multi-generational living is in UK. And that somewhat tells us that yes, we have a need for different types of innovations that helps the full aspect of the family, all generations stay in good health, but also then finding different types of supportive tools like lifts, for instance, etc. For instance, by chance, that actually then supports that family when grandma or grandma, etc., also living in the house. There are different types of need, and maybe those type of facilities can be shared in the future, because there are multiple families that are multi-generational. Yeah.
This is an example, of course, of very, physical innovations. But Victoria, for example, I mean, innovations can be, it could be social innovations or digital innovations or environmental innovations. What do you see as the forthcoming innovations with the COVID-19 as a backdrop?
Well, one thing that I'm thinking of now when I hear us talk is that I think, I mean, especially within technology, Sweden has been so forthcoming in that. So that I think it's going to be a lot of innovations, but I'm afraid it's going to cater for a certain kind of socioeconomic group. I mean, all of these things is about building new homes. It's about, I mean, this is...
And then we're back to segregation.
Then we're back to segregation again. But I think that also to weave in your former question about epidemic and loss, I think too that in urban planning, I mean, for the past 20 years, sustainability, social, environmental, and economical have actually worked their way into the planning system and the planning process in Sweden, at least. Somewhat in England, I think, too, with BREEAM communities, certifications, and these kind of things. And I think that the pandemic might actually find its place there as well. But in terms of social innovations, I think people are funny. I mean, it's not that easy. I mean, we had in the height of the pandemic in June, or was it even May? Stay home, wash your hands. Black Lives Matters movement came, and people went out and protested all over the world. Yeah. It's like almost for a day or two, maybe a week. I mean, I have to admit, I was there too. There were so many people. There was no masks. And still, I mean, people, you can't really trust them, can you? So when social aspects come up, all of a sudden, pandemic it just goes away. So people are particular curious kind of animal. It's really difficult to predict them.
Interesting observation.
Yeah. Time's running out. I would like us maybe to summarize with maybe just a short sentence or two from each one of you. While I'm talking very slowly, you start to think. Is there, to the audience out there, is there something that you want to send out as a message under today's headline, New Ways of Living Set Demands on the Future Cities? What that you hope is the greatest lesson learned from this era when we come out on the other side? Is there a behavior that we can learn from now that we can take with us in the future? David?
Yeah, I truly see throughout the last year how people are focused on how they want to socialize but cannot. Yeah, and I think that is a key driver for the future. No matter what, we need to start finding different types of solutions and innovations that helps us stay together or meet in different ways. James and I, in this report, we could see how people now start doing traveling by different types of features, digital. So you can join a group, travel to Iceland from your home and explore a lot of different things that you would be able to actually in normal life, be able to go to Iceland yourself. But here you can go on a trip to Iceland, on a tour on Iceland digitally. So exploring, giving people the possibility to socialize, meet, independent of crisis when it comes to pandemics or economics or environmental. It is so crucial for us. So I think a lot of innovation, and let's observe this coming next years, a lot of innovation will be actually opening up the possibility to stay together. And I think lifts have a role there, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Victoria, what do you say? What kind of behaviors would you like us to keep for the future, and lessons learned from those behaviors?
No, I think one of the main behavior is going to be distance working. I don't think we're going to go back to the office the way we used to do. So that is an interesting challenge for us that are working with creating buildings and actually refigure out offices. Maybe it's going to be more of a co-working situation, of course, but I think a lot of people that had the opportunity to work from home have, I'm not one of them who enjoyed it. I like to meet people, so for me it's a disaster. But for many people, they've saved so much time, and they've been exercising instead, going out, having walks and talks, meetings, and that, I think that's going to be the strongest one, at least in the westernized world. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that is.
That is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You want to have an Ethiopian or East African perspective, I would have said something else.
Yeah, we will have a talk later on, maybe on the rest of the world. And James, what would you say would be something to keep for the future that we have learned from today's behavior?
For me, there is one very clear outcome which I would like to see, and it's, I paraphrase Greta in "Our house is on fire." Our world is destroying itself. Our oceans are polluted. Our planet the forests are being chopped down, which is going to cause huge distress for humanity. So one of the great things about this year and the last year is that our global emissions have come down. And I think if we can keep our global carbon emissions down, that would be the one thing the one positive thing to come out of it. And we have COP26, as you know, in the UK later this year, a real kind of push towards a more sustainable world. And one of the things we haven't mentioned, but I think Aritco and David, and commissioning this report, having this conversation in the heart of Stockholm Design Week, it is that businesses can play a major role in the future. And it is amazing to work with David to push this agenda, because I know you genuinely believe in it, and our Springwise report has reflected that. It is really a lot of it is about sustainability, and it's a belief that we will thrive in a more sustainable world, and that all of us have to play that part. And a lot of my work is working with the best leaders of businesses to embed sustainability and innovation in their strategies. And the ones that do that well will be the ones that are successful and have the most positive impact, not only on their balance sheet, but also on the world. And if we can have a reset, if you like, of the way we do business, that will be a huge step forward.
Thank you. I think this makes a great end to our discussion. And for those interested in digging into this report furthermore, it's available now. It's published on your website, right?
Yes, that's right. For anyone who wants to explore more, you can download it on aritco.com, and there are other types of talks that we also throw that you can find through that one.
Thank you for being here to push the agenda with me. David Schill, Aritco, Viktoria Walldin, White Architects, and James Bidwell. Thank you very much, Springwise. And thank you, all of you at home listening to this discussion. The show will go on some other time, some other place. Thank you very much.